At my own birthday dinner, my mom whispered to my brother, "While everyone's here, go change her locks." He did. And what he found at my apartment ended everything. My name is Emily Warren. I was turning 29, sitting at a small cafe table I had paid for. My mother, Patricia, sat across from me, smiling like she was proud. My father, Mark, sat beside her. My older brother, Eric, and his wife were there too. I kept telling myself this year would be different. I heard the whisper clearly. I saw my father nod. "Do it after dessert," he agreed. I froze. My chest felt tight, but I kept smiling. I cut my own birthday cake and passed out the plates. Eric stood up, grabbed his keys, and walked out the door. An hour later, he came back. He was pale. He looked sick. My mother leaned in, annoyed. "Well, did you do it?" Eric swallowed. He wouldn't look at me. There's police tape around her door. Every fork stopped. The air went cold. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me, where in the world are you watching from? My phone buzzed on the table. A text message lit up the screen. "Ms. Warren, this is Officer Daniel Grant from Seattle PD. Please contact us immediately regarding your apartment." My mother wanted to lock me out. Instead, she had just unlocked the truth. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't look at my mother's face. I stood up from the table, my own birthday cake still on my plate, and walked out. The little bell on the cafe door tinkled, a cheerful sound in a terrible moment. The Seattle air was cold and wet. It started to rain, hard drops that hit my face and mixed with the tears I refused to let fall. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped my keys twice before I could unlock my car. I pulled out onto the street, my mind blank with shock. Go change her locks. Why? Why would she do that? I wasn't a rebellious teenager. I was 29 years old. I had a job. I had a son. I paid my own bills. But in her eyes, I was still a child. A problem to be managed. My wipers swiped back and forth. Thwack, thwack, thwack. The sound was like a clock counting down. I drove too fast, running a yellow light that was almost red. The city lights blurred through the rain. I kept thinking about Eric, my older brother. He always did what she said. Always. He was the good son. I was the difficult daughter. He got praise. I got my locks changed on my birthday. When I gave them a spare key, it was for emergencies. For Noah. In case my son Noah needed them and I wasn't there. I thought it was a key of trust. I was so stupid. For my mother, it was just a key of control. My building was old brick on a quiet downtown street. But it wasn't quiet tonight. I saw the lights from 2 blocks away. Blue and red. Flashing. Turning the rain into colored needles. They were parked right in front. I left my car double parked, the engine still running, and ran onto the sidewalk. A police officer stood near the lobby door. He was young with a tired face. He held a large umbrella and stepped forward when he saw me. "Ma'am, can I help you?" "This is my apartment," I said, my voice shaky. "I'm Emily Warren. I got a text message." His expression changed. It softened. "Ms. Warren, I'm Officer Grant." He was the one who texted me. "Why don't we step under this awning?" "What happened?" I asked, looking past him at my building's front door. "My brother, he came here. He said there was police tape." Officer Grant nodded slowly. He looked uncomfortable. "There was an incident, ma'am." "Your apartment." "Unit 3B. We received a 911 call from a neighbor about a disturbance. A possible break-in." My stomach dropped. "A break-in? Did they take anything?" "My son's things?" "That's the strange part," he said, looking at his small, wet notepad. "We did a preliminary sweep. The door was forced. The lock is completely destroyed, but nothing appears to be stolen. Your television, laptop, it's all still there. It doesn't look like a robbery." I leaned against the brick wall. The cold seeped through my jacket. "My door was forced?" "Yes, ma'am. A crowbar, looks like. We were about to tape it off and wait for you." I stared at him. A crowbar. Eric wouldn't do that. He had a key. My mind was spinning. "Officer," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My brother, Eric Warren. He has a key to my apartment. He came here tonight." Officer Grant frowned. "He has a key? Did you ask him to come here?" "No." My voice was quiet. "My mother, she told him to come here. To change my locks. To lock me out." I said it out loud to a stranger. "A police officer." The shame burned in my throat. I waited for him to judge me. To ask what I did wrong to make my mother do that. He just looked at me, his eyes clear. She told him to change your locks? While you were out? Yes, at my birthday dinner. He was quiet for a long moment. He wrote something in his notepad. Okay, well, we found the door already broken. So Mr. Warren didn't use his key if that's what you're thinking. He arrived after the break-in. He's the one who called 911. This was too much. Too many twists. Eric called the police. He did. He was cooperative. He gave us his statement. He seemed pretty shaken up. Officer Grant looked back toward the cruiser. He said he had a key, but the door was already splintered. He looked inside, saw the mess, and backed out. Called us immediately. Where is he now? We sent him home. He said he was going back to the cafe to talk to your mother. Of course he was. He always went back to Mom. I felt a new kind of dread. Someone else broke into my apartment, and my mother sent my brother to walk right into it. So what now? I asked. Can I go up? We need to process the scene first, Ms. Warren. Forensics is on their way. We can't let you in just yet. We need to see if they left any prints. I just nodded, numb. I felt violated. My safe place. The only place in the world that was just mine and Noah's. Someone had forced their way in. Do you know anyone who would want to hurt you, Ms. Warren? Officer Grant asked gently. An ex-boyfriend? A problem at work? No, I said immediately. No one, I go to work, I pick up my son, I come home. I don't have enemies. His radio crackled on his shoulder. A woman's voice full of static. Unit 4. We ran the partial print from the interior door frame. Officer Grant unhooked the radio and held it to his mouth. Go ahead, dispatch. We've got a tentative match. Subject is known to us. Sending the ID to your terminal. And Grant? The subject is already in custody. Picked up 2 blocks from the scene 30 minutes ago, acting suspicious. The officer's face tightened. He looked from his radio to his cruiser and then back to me. His professional calm was gone. Now he just looked serious. Ms. Warren, he said, his voice low. You might want to sit down. This just got complicated. I didn't sit. I couldn't. I just stood there, gripping the strap of my purse, the wet pavement cold under my thin shoes. What is it? Officer Grant was looking at the small computer screen in his parked cruiser. The rain drummed on the roof of the car. He came back over, holding his umbrella over both of us. The fingerprints we found on your bedroom door. They don't belong to you or your brother, he said. Who do they belong to? A man named Todd Hales. The name hit me like a physical slap. Todd? Todd Hales? He works for my landlord. You know him. Grant's eyes sharpened. Yes, he's the landlord's nephew. He handles maintenance for the building. He fixed my sink last month. My mind flashed to Todd. He was quiet, thin, and always seemed to be looking at something just over my shoulder. He made my skin crawl. I had complained to my mother about him once, and she told me I was being dramatic. He has a key, I whispered. He must have a master key for all the apartments. We think he used a copy, Grant said. We have security footage from the hallway. He didn't use a master key. He used a single copied key. He let himself in. The neighbor in 3A heard a crash. That must have been him using the crowbar on your bedroom door, not the front door. My blood ran cold. My bedroom door? Why? We're not sure. But he's in custody. We found him 2 blocks away, soaking wet, just watching. He had a crowbar in his backpack. When we ran his name, your address popped. My heart was pounding. It didn't make sense. Why would Todd break into my apartment but not steal anything? Why break down my bedroom door? I need to see it, I said. Grant hesitated. Ms. Warren, the forensics team is... I don't care. It's my home. I need to see what he did. He saw the look on my face. He sighed. Okay, we've dusted for prints. You can look, but don't touch anything. Stay with me. He led me into the lobby and up the 3 flights of stairs. The hallway smelled like old carpet and dust. We got to my door. Unit 3B, the wood around the lock was completely splintered. It was broken, hanging open. But Grant was right. The real damage was inside. He pushed the door open and I saw my home. It was wrong. He hadn't tossed the place. My couch was straight. My TV was there. But there was an energy in the room that was full of anger. He was in my bedroom, I said, walking slowly down the short hall. The door to my bedroom was destroyed. The frame was split and the door was hanging off one hinge. He had forced his way in. I stepped inside, and my breath caught in my chest. He hadn't stolen my jewelry. He hadn't touched my laptop. He had flipped over every photograph, one by one. Every picture I had of me and my son Noah was now face down on my dresser. A picture of Noah on his first day of school. A picture of me holding him as a baby. A picture of us at the pumpkin patch last fall. All of them. Face down. It was a violation. It was so personal. It was a message. What is this? I whispered. I felt sick. Why would he do this? I don't know, Ms. Warren, Grant said softly. He looked angry now, too. This wasn't a robbery. No, I said. It wasn't. Then I saw it. On my nightstand, next to the photos he had turned over. A single plain white envelope. My name wasn't on it. Officer? I said, pointing. Grant nodded. He pulled a glove from his pocket, put it on, and picked up the envelope. He opened the flap. Inside was a single piece of white paper folded once. He unfolded it. It was a typed message. Just one sentence. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. I read the words over and over. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. This wasn't about me. This was about my mother. Todd Hales wasn't a random creep. He was connected to her. Ms. Warren, Grant said, his voice quiet. What does this mean? What truth? I stared at the note. My mother's whisper at the cafe. Go change her locks. She wasn't trying to lock me out. She was scared. She was afraid of something in my apartment. She sent Eric to get something. But Todd Hales, the man with the creepy eyes, got there first. He wasn't there to steal. He was delivering a message, and the photos. He turned the photos over. He was telling me that my life, my world with Noah, was not safe. He was telling me that this secret, whatever it was, could destroy it. My mother's fear at the cafe wasn't about controlling me. It was raw panic. She knew this man. She knew about this note. Emily? Officer Grant said, pulling me from my thoughts. I think I know, I whispered, my voice trembling. I think she's in trouble. And I think she just dragged me into it. The police taped up my door. They put a temporary lock on it, but it didn't feel safe. I couldn't stay there. Not with the image of Noah's picture face down. Not with that note breathing in the air. I called my friend Sabrina. She lived 10 minutes away. I didn't tell her everything. I just said there was a break-in and I was scared. She told me to come over immediately. I spent the night on her couch, staring at the ceiling, my mind replaying every second. The cafe. The whisper. The police lights. The note. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. What truth? I woke up at 6 a.m., my neck stiff, my body aching with tension. My phone was on the coffee table. I had turned it on silent. Now I looked at the screen. 9 missed calls. 7 from Mother. 1 from Eric. 1 from an unknown number. A new voicemail icon was glowing. It was from Officer Grant. My hands were shaking again. I pressed the button and held the phone to my ear. Ms. Warren, this is Officer Grant. It's 5:30 a.m. I'm sorry to call so early, but we have an update. We processed Todd Hales. He's not talking about the note, but we got a warrant for his financials. We traced a payment. A digital transfer made to his bank account late last week. $5,000. My breath hitched. Ms. Warren, Grant's voice continued, flat and professional. The payment was made from an account belonging to a Patricia Warren. The transfer memo just said maintenance. We believe your mother paid Mr. Hales. Given the note and the timing, we believe she wanted something retrieved from your apartment, and he was the man she hired to get it. Please call me back when you get this. The phone slipped from my hand and clattered onto the floor. She paid him. My mother paid the man who broke into my apartment. The man who turned my son's pictures over. The story she told Eric, go change her locks, was a lie. A cover. She never wanted to change the locks. She wanted Eric to go inside. To get something, but why Eric? And why Todd? Maybe she asked Eric first. Maybe he said no. Eric never said no. Maybe she sent Eric to get it, and he was too late. Todd Hales, her hired man, got there first. But why would her own hired man leave that note? It didn't make sense unless Todd wasn't working for her anymore. Unless he was blackmailing her. My mind flashed back. A month ago, I was at my parents' house. Noah was playing in the yard, and I went up to the attic to find his old baby clothes. The attic was hot and smelled like dust and cedar. I was pulling down a plastic tub when I knocked over a different box. An old cardboard banker's box. The lid fell off. It was labeled Dad's business files. I wasn't snooping. Not really. I was just cleaning up my mess.
But I saw the top folder.
And I saw my name. Emily Warren, Property Trust. I didn't have a property trust. I felt a cold prickle on my neck. I knelt on the dusty floorboards. I opened the folder. Inside were deeds. Property deeds for 2 different condos, one in Seattle, one in Portland, and offshore bank account statements. All of it was under my name. My signature was at the bottom of a dozen documents, but I had never seen them before. It wasn't my signature. It was a forgery. A very good one in my father's handwriting. I felt sick. I just sat there, in the dust, staring at a life I apparently owned. A life of assets and money I had never seen. My parents, my father, they were using me. They were using my name to hide money. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't take the files. I took pictures. I took photos of every single page with my phone. Then I put the folder back. I put the lid on the box. I pushed it back into the corner, behind the Christmas decorations. I never said a word. I went downstairs and played with Noah. I tried to forget. I told myself I misunderstood, that it was some old legal thing my dad set up for me. Now, sitting on Sabrina's couch, I knew the truth. I pulled out my phone. I went to my photo gallery. I scrolled back 1 month. There they were, the photos. Emily Warren Property Trust. The blurry, forged signatures. The bank statements from the Cayman Islands. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. We believe she wanted something retrieved. They knew. My parents knew I had found that box. How, I didn't know. But they knew. And they were terrified. They weren't trying to protect me. They weren't trying to control me. They were trying to hide the evidence. They were afraid I would be the one to expose them. My mother hired a criminal to break into my apartment to find those files. Or maybe just the phone that had the pictures. I called Officer Grant. My voice was different. It wasn't shaky anymore. It was cold. Officer Grant? This is Emily Warren. I got your message. Ms. Warren, I'm sorry about the news. You're sure? I asked. The payment came from her? Yes, ma'am. It's an airtight digital trail. It looks like your mother hired him, and perhaps the deal went bad. He broke in and left that note as a threat. That's our working theory. He was looking for something, I said, my voice flat. Documents. Financial documents. There was a pause on the line. Ms. Warren, do you know what those documents are? I looked at the photos on my phone screen. Yes, I said, I do. And I have them. I spent the next 2 hours with a locksmith, a real one. He installed a new deadbolt, a heavy-duty one with a steel plate. He handed me the new keys. They felt heavy and real. My apartment felt different. It was clean. I had scrubbed the floor where Todd Hales had walked. I had turned all my photos of Noah back upright. I lined them up. His school picture. His gap-toothed grin. This was my home. This was my life, not theirs. I sat on my couch, the new key in my hand. I thought about Officer Grant. He had asked me to come to the station, to bring the photos, but not yet. There was one thing I had to do first. I had to see her face. I had to hear her voice. I picked up my phone. I opened a new text message to Mother. My thumbs hovered over the screen. I didn't write, "Hi, Mom." I didn't ask why. I typed, "Dinner, my place. 7 p.m. No games." I hit send. The 3 little dots indicating she was typing appeared almost instantly. She was waiting by her phone. Her reply came back. "Fine, but be ready for the truth." Her truth. I was ready for the truth. The hours passed slowly. I made coffee I didn't drink. I folded laundry. I was just moving, keeping my hands busy. I was preparing for battle. I wasn't their daughter tonight. I wasn't the victim. I was the person who held all the cards. At 6:55 p.m., my intercom buzzed. I pressed the button. "It's me." My mother's voice snapped, tinny through the speaker. I buzzed her in. I stood by my new deadbolt and waited. I heard her footsteps on the stairs. Fast, sharp, angry. She didn't knock. She just tried to turn the handle. Of course. She expected the door to be unlocked for her. She knocked, a hard, impatient rap, rap, rap. I turned the deadbolt. The sound was loud in the small apartment. I opened the door. She stood there. Patricia Warren. She was perfectly dressed, as always. Black slacks, a silk blouse, her hair perfect. Her expensive perfume, the same perfume she's worn my whole life, rolled into my apartment, trying to claim the space. Her eyes went immediately to the new lock. The silver shining deadbolt. "What did you do?" she asked. "No hello. I changed the locks," I said. I stepped back and left the door open for her. She walked in and looked around. Her eyes scanned everything. The clean floor. The laptop on the table. She was looking for something. She was looking for the files. "You shouldn't have involved the police, Emily," she said, turning to face me. Her arms were crossed. "She was here to scold me. You shouldn't have hired a criminal, Mom." Her face didn't flinch, but her eyes hardened. "I don't know what you're talking about. I hired that man Todd to fix your leaking dishwasher. He's a troubled boy. He must have kept a key. This is what happens when you live in these buildings." The lie was so easy for her. So smooth. I didn't raise my voice. I just stood by the counter. "He didn't use a key, Mom. He used a crowbar on my bedroom door. And the police have the bank transfer. $5,000 with the memo maintenance. That's a lot for a dishwasher." The silence in the room was heavy. It stretched for a long, long time. She uncrossed her arms. Her mask of irritation was gone. Now I saw the fear. The fear I saw at the cafe. "You don't understand," she whispered. She sat on my couch, but she perched on the edge. You don't understand what's at stake." "Then make me understand," I said. "Those papers," she said, her voice sharp. "The box in the attic. You shouldn't have been in there. Those papers don't belong to you. They have my name on them." "It's complicated," she snapped. "It's your father's business. Todd was supposed to retrieve them. He was just supposed to get them before you did something stupid." I stared at her. The confession was just... There, she said it. She hired him to break into my apartment. "To steal from me. Stupid?" I repeated. "You mean like going to the police? Like asking why my name is forged on offshore bank accounts?" Her face went white. Paler than I had ever seen it. "He told you, Todd." "He told you." "Todd didn't tell me anything," I said. "He just left a note. I found the files a month ago, Mom." She stood up. The fear was gone. Now it was just ice. "I was protecting you," she said. "You were protecting him," I said, my voice shaking, but not with fear, with anger. "You were protecting Dad. You were protecting your money. You were protecting your lies. You are part of this family, Emily." "No," I said. "I'm not. I'm your cover story. I'm the name you used to hide your assets. I'm the daughter you sent a criminal after." She walked toward me, her face tight with a fury I had known my whole life. "You think you're so smart. You found a few papers. You have no idea what you're messing with. You could ruin your father. You could ruin this entire family. You ruined this family," I said. "You did this." "Not me." She stopped just a foot away from me. Her eyes were cold. "Be ready for the truth," I said. "Here it is, Emily. You're right. We were hiding them. And you will give those photos to me. Right now. Or I will make you." I looked at the woman who was my mother. The woman who threatened me in my own home after sending a man to break it down. "No," I said. Her mask didn't just slip. It shattered. My no hung in the air. It was a small word, but it was a wall. It was a new sound in this apartment. My mother had never heard it from me. Not really. Not when it mattered. Her face changed. The ice didn't melt. It cracked. "I will make you," she had said. "How?" I asked. My voice was quiet. That seemed to make her angrier than if I had screamed. "How?" she repeated, her voice rising. "How do you think? You have a son. You have a job. You have this little life. All of it is so fragile, Emily, I can break it. I can call Child Protective Services. I can tell them you're unstable. I can tell them you're involved in your father's mess. I can tell them you're an unfit mother. Do you think they'll believe you? Or me?" There it was. The threat I had been waiting for my whole life. The threat she had always held over me. Noah, my son. My world. I felt the blood drain from my face. I felt dizzy. She would do it. I knew she would. She would burn my entire life to the ground to save herself. "You would take Noah from me?" "I would protect him," she said, her voice sharp. "From you. From the mess you're making. You've always been like this. So dramatic. So selfish. You found something you didn't understand, and now you want to play with it like a bomb. Give me the phone, Emily." She held out her hand. Her manicured nails, perfectly red. I felt a strange cold calm settle over me. The fear was still there, but it was underneath something new. It was underneath anger. A deep, hard, clean anger. She was right. I was fragile. She could hurt me. But she was wrong about one thing. I wasn't playing. I looked at my phone, sitting on the kitchen counter between us. Then I looked back at her. You think I'm stupid, I said. I think you're emotional, she spat. You're just like you were at 17. You think you know everything, and you know nothing. Your father built an empire. He did it for us, for this family, for you. So you would never have to struggle. And this is how you repay him? By threatening to send him to prison? He used my name, I said. He protected you. He put assets in your name. One day they would have been yours. This is what wealthy families do, Emily. You wouldn't understand the first thing about it. You'd rather live in this tiny, damp apartment and pretend you're better than us. She was pacing now. Her sharp perfume was filling my kitchen. It was suffocating. All you had to do was nothing, she went on. Just be quiet. Just live your life. But you had to snoop. You had to go into that attic. You had to dig. You're just like my sister. Ungrateful. I thought of my Aunt Sarah, who my mother hadn't spoken to in 20 years. The ungrateful sister who had moved across the country to get away from her. I felt my thumb move on the side of my phone. I slid it off the counter. My hand was shaking. I kept it low by my side. I pressed the volume up button and then the power button. The screen lit up. I tapped the icon for the voice recorder. I pressed the red button. I held the phone loosely at my side, microphone pointing up. Tell me again, Mom, I said. My voice was shaking. I hated it. Tell you what, she snapped. Tell you that you're a fool? Tell me what you'll do if I don't give you the photos. She stopped pacing. She looked at me, a long, cold stare. I will not let you destroy your father. I will not let you destroy me. I will do whatever it takes. I will call CPS. I will tell them Noah isn't safe with you. I will tell them you're unstable, that you're paranoid. I have friends. I have influence. Who do you have, Emily? Sabrina? That little friend of yours who works at a coffee shop? It will be my word against yours. And I will win. I just stared at her. I let her words fill the room. I let the small digital microphone drink them all in. Every last syllable. You're wrong about something, Mom, I said. My voice was stronger now. Oh? What's that? You said those papers. The undeclared properties? The offshore accounts? You said Dad put them in my name for me? He did. No, I said. He put them in my name to hide them. He used my social security number. He forged my signature. That's not a gift. That's a crime. That's identity fraud. And you're an accessory to it. Her face went completely cold. The anger vanished, replaced by that pure white panic. The same panic I saw at the cafe. She finally understood. I didn't just find papers. I understood what they meant. What have you done? She whispered. It wasn't a question. It was a terrified plea. I learned how to stop being your pawn, I said. She looked at me and I saw something I had never seen before. She was afraid. Truly afraid. Not of me, but of what I represented. The end. But the fear only lasted a second. It was replaced by her old familiar armor. Fury. You wouldn't dare, she hissed. You wouldn't dare turn on your family. I took a step back. I thought of my birthday. I thought of the whisper. I thought of the splintered door. I thought of Noah's picture, face down on my dresser. You did, I said. You turned on me first. You sent a criminal here. You threatened to take my son. A loud clap of thunder rumbled outside. The rain, which had stopped, started to pour again, lashing against my windows. It was like the sky was agreeing with me. The sound broke the spell. Patricia's mask didn't just slip. It was gone. Her face was ugly with rage. Pure, unfiltered hatred. It was the face of a cornered animal. You'll regret this, Emily, she said, her voice low and dangerous. You will regret this for the rest of your life. She turned, grabbed her purse, and walked to the door. She didn't slam it. She pulled it open, paused, and looked back at me. You were always a mistake, she said. Then she was gone. The door clicked shut, leaving me alone in the silence. I stood there, my legs shaking so hard I had to grab the counter. The only sound was the rain and the hiss of the voice recorder app still running. I looked down at my phone. I pressed the stop button. The file saved. Recording 01. I sank to the floor. I didn't cry. I just held my phone. Maybe, I whispered to the empty room. But at least it'll be mine to regret. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. First I called Sabrina. Can you keep Noah one more night? Please don't ask why, just, I need him to be safe. Sabrina didn't hesitate. Of course. What's going on? Are you okay? I will be, I said. I promise. I have to do something hard tomorrow. Tell him I love him. Tell him I'll see him tomorrow afternoon. I hung up. I sat on my couch. The new deadbolt on my door looked strong, but I still dragged my heavy armchair in front of it. I felt like a child, building a fort. But my mother wasn't a monster under the bed. She was real. I listened to the recording. I will call Child Protective Services. I will tell them Noah isn't safe with you. I will tell them you're unstable. It will be my word against yours. And I will win. I listened to it 3 times. Each time I felt sicker, but each time I also felt stronger. It wasn't in my head. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't me being dramatic. It was a threat. It was a confession. It was the truth. I spent the rest of the night gathering my evidence. I didn't just have the photos on my phone. When I was in the attic a month ago, I had panicked. I took pictures, yes, but I also grabbed the main folder, the one with my name on it, the one with the original forged trust documents. I had shoved it under my shirt, walked out of that house, and hidden it at the bottom of my own closet. I pulled out the folder. Emily Warren, Property Trust. I put it on my coffee table. Next to it, I put my phone with the photos of the other files I had left behind. Next to that, I put the white envelope Todd Hales had left. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. I looked at the small pile of evidence. This was my mother's truth, a pile of lies, fraud, and threats. The next morning, the rain had stopped. The sky was a pale, washed-out gray. I didn't put on makeup. I didn't try to look nice. I put on jeans and a plain gray sweater. I put the folder and the envelope in my backpack. I put my phone in my pocket. I felt like I was walking to my own execution, or my own birth. I wasn't sure which. I drove to the Financial Crimes Division of the Seattle Police Department. It was a boring, concrete building, the kind of place you'd never notice. The lobby was full of fluorescent lights and the smell of stale coffee. It was quiet. I walked up to the thick glass window. "I'm here to see Officer Grant," I said. "My name is Emily Warren." The officer behind the glass looked at a list. "He's expecting you." "Go on through." "3rd floor." Officer Grant met me by the elevator. He wasn't in his uniform. He was in a rumpled suit. He looked tired. "Ms. Warren," he said, shaking my hand. His hand was warm and dry. "Thanks for coming in. We have a room." He led me to a small windowless room. Just a table and 4 chairs. It was cold. "Coffee?" he asked. "No, thank you," I said. I sat down. He sat across from me. He opened his own file. "So you said on the phone you had the documents Mr. Hales was looking for? The ones your mother hired him to retrieve?" "Yes," I said. I pulled the folder from my backpack and slid it across the table. "And I have more." He opened the folder. He read the first page. His eyebrows shot up. He looked at me. This is your signature?" "It's a forgery," I said. "I found this in my parents' attic a month ago. They've been using my identity to hide assets. For years, it looks like." He turned the pages slowly. He looked at the offshore account numbers. He looked at the property deeds. "This is a state and federal case, Ms. Warren. This is big." "I know," I said. "And there's more." I pulled out the envelope. "This is the note he left." He read it. He nodded. "This connects Todd Hales directly to these files. He wasn't just threatening your mother. He was threatening her with this." "Yes," I said. "And then she threatened me." I placed my phone on the table. "My mother came to my apartment last night. She tried to get me to give her these files. I recorded the conversation." Grant looked at the phone. Then at me. His expression was impossible to read. It was professional, but his eyes were kind. "You're certain you want to do this?" he asked. I thought of Noah. I thought of the splintered door. I thought of her voice. "You were always a mistake." "Completely," I said. "I'm done being their cover story." I pressed play. We sat in that cold, windowless room and listened. We listened to my mother's voice fill the air. We listened to her threats. We listened to her admissions. We listened to her plan to take my son. When it was over, Grant pressed stop. He was silent for a full minute. He looked down at the table. Finally, he looked up at me. "This is airtight," he said, his voice quiet. "The bank transfer to Hales, the note, these financial documents, and this recording. This is a complete case." He explained what would happen next. He would file the report. A detective from the fraud division would take my official, on-the-record statement. The district attorney's office would review it. Warrants would be issued. "Because you are the victim of the identity fraud," he said. And because you have this recording of her threat, you will be cleared completely. You are a cooperating witness, not a suspect." He paused. "This is going to be hard, Ms. Warren. It will get into the papers. Your family, they will face serious charges. Forgery, tax evasion, conspiracy, identity theft. And now, with this recording, witness tampering, extortion." I just nodded. I felt empty, but not in a bad way. I felt light. I exhaled. It was a long, slow breath. It felt like I was breathing out 29 years of poison. "Good," I said. "I'm done carrying their sins." The waiting was the worst part. For 3 weeks, nothing happened. I took Noah to the park. I went to work. I bought groceries. I smiled at my neighbors. My life looked exactly the same, but underneath, a bomb was ticking. I lived in terror of my phone. Every time it rang, my heart seized. I was waiting for my mother to show up, for my father to call, for Eric to break down my door, demanding to know what I had done. But there was only silence. A loud, heavy, terrifying silence. They must have known. Their lawyers must have told them an investigation was open. They were waiting too. The storm broke on a Tuesday. I was at my desk at work, finishing a report. My phone buzzed. It wasn't a call. It was a news alert from a local Seattle app. My thumb, shaking, tapped the screen. The headline was big and black. "Seattle couple under federal investigation for identity fraud, tax evasion. Daughter reported as victim." My picture was there, a small old one from a company website, and a big smiling photo of my parents from a charity gala. I stared at it. Daughter reported as victim. It was real. It was public. My office phone rang. It was HR. "Emily? Can you come to my office for a moment?" I walked through the office. Everyone was quiet. Everyone was looking at their computers. No one would look at me. I could feel their eyes on my back. I sat in the HR manager's office. She looked uncomfortable. "Emily, this news. We just want to make sure you're okay. The article says you're a victim." "Yes," I said. My voice was hoarse. "I am. I was the one who reported it." Her eyes widened. "Oh," she said. "Well, please, take the rest of the day. Take the week if you need. We are here to support you." I walked out. I grabbed my bag. I didn't look at anyone. I got in my car and drove to Noah's school, even though it was hours before pickup. I just sat in the parking lot, watching the chain-link fence, just needing to be close to him. The fallout was fast. It was brutal. I didn't watch the local news. I didn't read the articles. But I couldn't escape it. My father resigned from his firm 2 days later. "For personal reasons," the statement said. My mother vanished. Her perfect, curated social media accounts, her Facebook, her Instagram, full of charity events and pictures of her garden, were deleted. She was gone. The family friends who used to kiss me on the cheek at Christmas parties? They didn't call, not one. It was like I had died. Or worse, like I had become unclean. Sabrina was the only one. She showed up at my apartment with a bag of groceries and a bottle of wine. She didn't ask what happened. She just said, "I'm making pasta. You're going to eat," and I loved her for it. Then, a week after the story broke, I got the text I was dreading. It was from Eric, my brother. I was playing with Noah on the floor. We were building a castle with blocks. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. I picked it up. "Eric, you ruined us. You ruined everything. Dad is broken. They're going to lose the house. They're going to lose everything. All because of you. I will never forgive you. I hope you're happy." I read it once, then twice. "You ruined us." Not, "They ruined us." Not, "What they did was wrong." You. He still saw me as the problem. Not the forgery. Not the fraud. Not the threats. Me. The truth. I felt the last little piece of my old life break. The tiny, stupid part of me that hoped my brother would finally see. That he would finally choose me. He didn't. He chose them. He chose the lie. Noah looked up at me. "Mommy, are you sad?" I wiped a tear from my cheek. I hadn't even felt it fall. "Yes, baby," I whispered. "But it's okay. We're going to finish this tower." I put the phone down. I picked up a blue block. I never replied to Eric's text. A week after that, my phone rang. It was Officer Grant, "Ms. Warren," he said. His voice was professional, but I could hear the warmth in it. "I'm calling to let you know the DA has officially filed charges. The case will proceed to court. Your parents' lawyers are In negotiations. Okay, I said. I also wanted to tell you that your case is closed. You've been officially and legally cleared of any involvement. Your status as a victim of identity fraud is permanent. You're free. I closed my eyes. You're free. Thank you, officer, I said. For everything. For believing me. You did the right thing, Ms. Warren. It took a lot of courage. We hung up. I stood in my kitchen. The apartment was quiet. Noah was at preschool. For my entire life, silence had been a weapon. The silence of my mother's disapproval. The silence of my father's neglect. The empty, lonely silence of my childhood. But this was different. This silence was peaceful. It wasn't empty. It was mine. It was 6 months later. The trial was over. My parents took a plea deal. My father's name was ruined. He was sentenced to 2 years in a low-security federal prison. My mother, for her cooperation and because of the extortion charge I had against her, received 5 years of probation and a massive fine. She was not allowed to contact me or Noah. It was a condition of her probation. A court-ordered restraining order. I had read about it. I hadn't attended. I was done. Life was just life. It was quiet. It was small. And it was good. I was picking Noah up from a doctor's appointment. Just a regular checkup. He was 6 now, and he had a new gap in his front teeth. He ran out of the doctor's office, clutching a piece of paper. He was beaming. Mom, I got a gold star, he yelled, running into my arms. He was getting so big. I scooped him up. You did? Look at you. For what? For being brave. The doctor said I was the bravest kid today. I didn't even cry at the shot. I kissed his head. He smelled like bubblegum toothpaste and playground dirt. My heart felt so full it ached. You are the bravest kid I know, I said, hugging him tight. He held up his sticker, a shiny holographic gold star. I smiled, my eyes wet. So did I, baby, I whispered, so quiet he couldn't hear. You just can't see mine yet. That night I hosted a small dinner. It wasn't a party. It was just, as my apartment was warm. It smelled like roasted chicken and garlic. Sabrina was there. My friend from work, Maria, who had stood by me, was there. And Noah, who was allowed to have ginger ale in a fancy glass. It was so different from my birthday party at the cafe. No one was whispering. No one was pretending. We were all just sitting at my small kitchen table, laughing. Noah was telling a long, confusing story about a squirrel at his school. Sabrina raised her glass of wine. I want to make a toast, she said, her eyes finding mine. We all quieted down. Noah proudly lifted his ginger ale. To freedom, Sabrina said simply. Maria raised her glass. To freedom, I lifted mine. The word felt so big. It meant so many things. Freedom from my parents. Freedom from the fear. Freedom from the identity of being the difficult daughter. And, I added, my voice soft but steady, to never apologizing for protecting yourself. Sabrina smiled and tapped her glass against mine. I'll drink to that. We ate. We talked about silly things. About movies. About work. About Noah's loose tooth. There was no drama. There were no hidden meanings. It was just easy. Later, after Noah was asleep, Sabrina and I sat on the couch finishing the wine. How are you? She asked. Really asked. I'm good, I said. And I was shocked to realize I meant it. I'm okay. It's still weird. I feel like I'm an orphan sometimes, but you're not an orphan, she said, putting her hand on my arm. You're just the start of a new line. I looked at her. The start of a new line. I like that. For the first time in my entire life, sitting in my own small apartment, with my son asleep in his bed and my friend by my side, I felt like I belonged somewhere. It wasn't a big fancy house. It wasn't a powerful family. It was just a small circle of light. And it was real. The next morning, I woke up before Noah. The sun was just starting to rise. It was a Saturday. I made coffee and stood by my window. For a long time, I just watched the city wake up. The Seattle sky was a pale, promising blue. The gray was finally breaking. There was one last thing to do. I went to my desk. I pulled out a plain, white, legal-sized envelope. I opened my closet. Taped to the very back wall, behind my winter coats, was one document. It was the original signed trust agreement. The first one? The one that started it all. The Emily Warren Property Trust. I had kept it. I had given the police copies, but I kept the original. It was my insurance. My last little piece of fear. What if they got out? What if they tried again? I had held on to this just in case. I didn't need it anymore. I wasn't afraid. I was free. I folded the document. I slid it into the envelope. I sealed the flap. I wrote the address on the front. Office of the District Attorney. At and Fraud Division, no note. No explanation. Just the truth. It wasn't for revenge. It wasn't to hurt them more. It was to let go. It was to give away the last piece of their sin that I was holding. I put on my shoes. I walked quietly out of my apartment. The morning air was cool and clean. I walked the 2 blocks to the blue corner mailbox. I held the letter over the slot. This ends here, I whispered. I let it go. I heard it thud at the bottom of the box. I turned and walked home. I felt lighter. I felt finished. When I got back, Noah was awake. He was sitting at the kitchen table, his hair a mess, rubbing his eyes. Good morning, sleepyhead, I smiled. Mommy? He yawned. Can we have pancakes? I went to the fridge and pulled out the eggs and milk. I felt a joy so simple and so pure it almost made me cry. It was the joy of a normal Saturday. We can, I said. With chocolate chips? He grinned, his gap-toothed, beautiful grin. I looked at my son. My real family, my future. The start of my new line. Always, I said. I mixed the batter. He chattered away. Outside, the sun finally broke through the gray clouds. It spilled into my kitchen, lighting up the dust motes dancing in the air. For the first time in my life, my world felt clean. It wasn't built on secrets. It wasn't built on fear. It was rebuilt, piece by piece, with freedom.